Hello, and welcome to the Smart English Club podcast. I am so happy you are here with us today. My name is Emma, and I am here with my wonderful friend and business partner, Jack.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to be here with you today. I am Jack.
Today, Jack and I are going to talk about something we are both incredibly excited about. We are going to start our very own small business together.
Listen carefully and enjoy our conversation in slow and clear English. Let us begin. Part 1. Emma and Jack decide to start a business.
Jack, I have been thinking about something for a very long time, and I think today is the day I finally say it out loud.
That sounds serious. What have you been thinking about?
I want to start my own business. I have wanted to do this for years, but I have always found a reason to wait. I told myself I was not ready, or that the timing was not right, or that I did not have enough money. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect time, and if I do not start now, I am afraid I never will.
Emma, I am so glad you said that because I have been thinking exactly the same thing. Every day I go to my office job and I sit at my desk and I think, is this really what I want to be doing for the next 30 years of my life?
Exactly. I feel the same way. I love learning and I love creating things, but working for someone else and following someone else's rules and building someone else's dream doesn't feel right for me anymore. I want to build something of my own.
I completely understand that feeling. And I want you to know something, Emma. I believe in you completely. Whatever idea you have, I want to help you make it happen. That is why I'm here today.
That means so much to me, Jack. Honestly, having your support makes me feel so much more confident about this, because starting a business alone is very scary, but starting one with someone you trust completely is a completely different feeling.
You do not have to do anything alone. We are a team. We always have been. So tell me, what kind of business are you thinking about? What is the idea?
Okay, so I have been thinking about this very carefully, and I keep coming back to the same idea. I want to start an online English learning business, a platform where people can learn English through real conversations, stories, and practical everyday content.
Oh, Emma, that is a brilliant idea. You are passionate about English, you are a natural teacher, you love creating content, and the market for online English learning is absolutely enormous right now. Millions of people around the world are searching for exactly what you are describing.
That is exactly what I think too. And I feel like so much of the English learning content online right now is either too boring or too complicated for beginners. There's a real gap in the market for something that is warm, friendly, practical, and genuinely enjoyable to learn from.
I agree completely. And the great thing about an online business is that the startup costs can be relatively low compared to a traditional brick-and-mortar business. You don't need a physical location, you don't need a large team. You can start small and grow gradually.
That's one of the things that excites me most about this idea. We can start from our laptops, from our living rooms, and build something genuinely valuable and genuinely helpful for people all over the world.
So what exactly would the business offer? What would be the main product or service?
That's a great question. Let me tell you exactly what I have in mind. So, the core of the business would be an online English learning podcast and content platform. We would create slow English podcast episodes for beginners. Each episode would be a natural conversation between two people about a real daily life situation. Things like going to the doctor, buying a house, ordering food at a restaurant, planning a trip. Real conversations that people actually need in their daily lives.
I love that concept. It is practical, it is relatable, and it fills a genuine need. People do not just want to learn grammar rules, they want to know how to actually communicate in real-life situations. And that is exactly what this would provide.
Exactly. And alongside the podcast, we would also create short-form video content for YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. Short clips that give people a taste of what we do and bring them into our community.
So we would have two main content channels, the podcast for long-form deep learning and short videos for discovery and growth. That is a very smart content strategy. The short videos attract new people and the podcast converts them into loyal long-term learners.
Yes, that is exactly the funnel I am thinking about. And then, eventually, we could also create digital products, things like downloadable workbooks, vocabulary guides, and practice exercises that complement the podcast content.
Digital products are wonderful from a business perspective because you create them once and you can sell them unlimited times. There's no physical inventory to manage, no shipping costs, no storage space needed. Once the product is created, it generates revenue while you sleep.
That is exactly right. And the more our audience grows, the more valuable those products become because we have an audience who already trusts us and who already knows the quality of our content.
Have you thought about what you would call the business? The brand name is very important. It needs to be memorable, easy to say, and clearly communicate what you do.
Yes, I have been thinking about names for weeks, and I keep coming back to one name that I absolutely love, Smart English Club.
Smart English Club. I love it. It is simple, it is clear, it tells you exactly what it is. Smart English for people who want to learn in a smart way. And club suggests a community, a place where people belong, where they feel welcome and supported.
That is exactly what I want it to feel like. Not just a content channel, but a genuine community of people who are all working toward the same goal, learning English and building their confidence and their opportunities in life.
That vision is very powerful, Emma, and it's the kind of vision that attracts loyal followers. People do not just subscribe to a channel, they join a movement. They become part of something bigger than themselves.
That is exactly the feeling I want to create. And I think if we stay true to that vision, the growth will come naturally. Because when people feel genuinely helped and genuinely valued, they share what they find with others. And that word of mouth is the most powerful marketing in the world.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have the concept, we have the name. Now we need to talk about the practical side of things, the business plan, the costs, the revenue model. Are you ready to get into the details?
I have been ready for years. Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the most important questions when starting any business is how much money do you need to get started? And the honest answer is that it depends enormously on what kind of business you are building.
In our case, because we are building an online content business, the startup costs should be relatively low, but there are still things we need to invest in.
Let us go through them one by one. The first cost is equipment. To create high-quality podcast and video content, we need good recording equipment. A professional quality microphone is essential. Poor audio quality will drive people away immediately. People will forgive average video quality, but they will not forgive bad audio.
I completely agree. Audio quality is the most important technical element of a podcast. And fortunately, a good quality microphone does not have to cost a fortune. You can get a very professional sounding microphone for between $100 and $200.
That is correct. We might also want to invest in some basic acoustic treatment for our recording space. Things like foam panels or thick curtains to reduce echo and background noise. That can be done for another $50 to $100.
So for equipment, we are looking at roughly $250 to $300 to start. That is very manageable.
The second cost is software and tools. We will need video editing software, audio editing software, and possibly a platform to host our podcast. There are some very good free options available, but for professional quality output, a paid subscription to something like Adobe Creative Suite or a simpler tool like CapCut Pro might be worth considering.
I have actually been using some of these tools already for personal projects, so I have a good understanding of what we need. I think we can keep our software costs to around $50 to $100 per month to start.
Good. The third cost is branding and design. We need a professional logo, brand colors, and consistent visual identity across all our platforms. This is very important because your visual identity is the first thing people notice. It creates an immediate impression of professionalism and trustworthiness.
I actually have a friend who is a graphic designer. She has offered to help us with our initial branding in exchange for a mention and some content collaboration, so that might be a cost we can keep very low initially.
That is wonderful. Using your network to reduce costs in the early stages is very smart. The fourth cost is website and hosting. We should have a simple, professional website that serves as our home base online, a place where people can find all our content, learn about what we offer, and eventually purchase our digital products.
A website does not need to be complicated or expensive at the beginning. A simple, clean website can be built for around $10 to $15 per month, using platforms like WordPress or Squarespace.
Exactly. So if we add everything up, equipment around $300 as a one-time cost, software around $100 per month, website around $15 per month, and some initial marketing budget of maybe $100 per month to promote our content in the early stages, we are looking at a total startup investment of around $300 upfront and around $215 per month ongoing.
That is incredibly reasonable for starting a real business. I was honestly expecting the numbers to be much higher. A lot of people think you need tens of thousands of dollars to start a business, but with an online content business, you can start with a very small investment and grow from there.
That is one of the most exciting things about this kind of business. The barrier to entry is very low, which means anyone with passion, dedication, and consistency can build something truly remarkable. The investment required is mostly time and effort rather than money.
And time and effort are two things I have plenty of. Me too.
Huh, me too. So where will this initial investment come from? Do we have savings we can use?
I have been saving money for the past year specifically because I knew I wanted to start something. I have about $2,000 set aside for this purpose. That's more than enough to cover our initial costs and give us a comfortable runway for the first several months.
That is excellent, and I can contribute as well. I have some savings I can put toward this. Between the two of us, we should have enough to operate comfortably for at least 6 months without needing to generate any significant revenue.
6 months is a good runway. Most business advisors say you need at least 3 to 6 months of operating costs saved before you launch. That way you can focus on building quality content and growing your audience without the pressure of needing to make money immediately.
Exactly. The first few months should be about building the content, building the audience, building the brand. The revenue will follow once we have a genuine community of engaged listeners and viewers.
I could not agree more. Okay, so we have our budget sorted. Now let us talk about how we actually plan to grow our audience and attract customers.
Marketing is one of the most important aspects of any business. You can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows it exists, it will not succeed. So how are we going to let people know about Smart English Club?
I have thought about this a lot, and I think our marketing strategy needs to be built around 3 main pillars. The first pillar is content marketing. This means creating valuable free content consistently and sharing it on the platforms where our target audience spends their time.
And who exactly is our target audience? It is important to be very specific about this.
Our primary target audience is adults between the ages of 18 and 45 who are learning English as a second language, people who are at a beginner to intermediate level, people who want to learn practical conversational English rather than just grammar rules, and people who are motivated by real-life goals, getting a better job, traveling, communicating with family or friends who speak English.
That is a very large and very motivated audience. People who are learning English for real-life goals are highly engaged learners. They are not learning English just because someone told them to. They are learning because they have a genuine personal reason. That makes them much more likely to be loyal and consistent listeners.
Exactly, and they are spread all over the world, which is one of the greatest advantages of an online business. We are not limited to one city or one country. Our content can reach people in every corner of the world simultaneously.
So for content marketing, which platforms are we going to focus on initially?
Initially, I think we should focus on 3 main platforms. YouTube for our long-form podcast episodes. This is where people go when they want to learn something in depth. Facebook for community building and sharing our content with a broader audience. And Instagram or TikTok for short-form video content that attracts new viewers and brings them into our ecosystem.
That is a very solid multi-platform strategy, but I would suggest we do not try to do everything at once in the very beginning. Trying to manage too many platforms simultaneously when you are just starting out can lead to burnout and inconsistent quality.
That is a very wise point. So which platform should we prioritize first?
I would suggest starting with YouTube as the primary platform. YouTube videos have a very long shelf life. A video you upload today can still be discovered by new viewers months or even years later. And YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. People actively go there to search for English learning content.
Yes, YouTube first. Build a strong foundation there, and then as we grow and our production system becomes more efficient, we can expand to other platforms.
The second pillar of our marketing strategy should be search engine optimization. This means making sure our content appears when people search for English learning content online. Using the right keywords in our titles, descriptions, and tags is very important for making our content discoverable.
I have been reading a lot about YouTube SEO recently, and it is fascinating. Small changes in how you title a video or write a description can make an enormous difference to how many people find your content through search.
Exactly. And the third pillar is community engagement, responding to every comment, asking our audience questions, creating challenges that encourage participation, building a genuine two-way relationship with our listeners and viewers, rather than just broadcasting content at them.
Community is everything. When people feel seen and heard and valued, they become advocates for your brand. They share your content with their friends, they write positive reviews, they tell people about you in conversation. That organic word of mouth is worth more than any paid advertising.
Absolutely. And it costs nothing except time and genuine care for your audience. Okay, Emma, let us talk about something that most people are afraid to discuss when they start a business: the challenges.
Yes, I think it is very important to go into this with our eyes open. I don't want us to be naive about the difficulties ahead.
Every business faces challenges, and the businesses that succeed are not the ones that never face problems. They're the ones that face problems honestly and find creative solutions. So, what do you think will be our biggest challenges, Emma?
I think the biggest challenge in the beginning will be consistency. Creating high-quality content consistently week after week is much harder than it sounds. There will be weeks when we feel tired or uninspired or overwhelmed, and those are the weeks when most people give up.
That is the most honest and important thing you could have said. Consistency is the #1 factor that separates successful content creators from unsuccessful ones. It is not talent. It is not budget. It is not even the quality of the content. It is showing up consistently, week after week, even when you do not feel like it.
So how do we protect ourselves against inconsistency? What systems can we put in place to make sure we keep going even during the difficult periods?
The most effective system is to create content in batches. Instead of creating one episode at a time, we dedicate a specific day or weekend each month to creating multiple episodes at once. That way, we always have a buffer of ready content. So if we have a difficult week, we can still publish on schedule because we already have content prepared in advance.
That is such a smart approach. So instead of being in constant production mode, we have scheduled production days and then scheduled publishing days. That separates the creative work from the administrative work.
Exactly. The second challenge I anticipate is slow initial growth. In the beginning, the audience numbers will be small. We might publish 10 or 15 episodes before we start to see significant growth, and that can be very discouraging when you put so much effort into something and only a handful of people see it.
I know that feeling is going to be difficult to deal with. I am a very results-oriented person, and it will be hard to keep going when the numbers are small. How do we stay motivated during that period?
By focusing on quality rather than quantity. Every single person who listens to our content in those early days is a real human being who is genuinely benefiting from what we create. Even if we have only 50 listeners, those 50 people's lives are being genuinely improved by our content. That is worth celebrating.
That is a beautiful perspective. And I think it's also worth remembering that growth on platforms like YouTube is not linear. It is exponential. You can grow slowly for months and then suddenly something clicks. A video performs particularly well, a big channel mentions you, and overnight your audience multiplies.
That is absolutely true. The growth curve for content creators typically looks very flat for the first 6 to 12 months, and then it starts to accelerate. The people who give up in those first 12 months never get to experience that acceleration. The people who persist through it build something extraordinary.
Then we persist, no matter what. We commit to at least 1 full year before we make any judgments about whether it's working or not.
I completely agree. 1 full year of consistent effort before we evaluate. That is our commitment to each other and to ourselves. The third challenge I want to mention is managing our time. We both currently have full-time jobs. Building a business on the side while working full-time is exhausting. We need to be very honest with ourselves about this.
Yes, this is something I've thought about a great deal. I think the key is to be very protective of our time. We need to decide exactly how many hours per week we can realistically dedicate to the business without burning out, and then we need to stick to that commitment.
What do you think is a realistic time commitment for each of us in the beginning?
I think 10 to 15 hours per week is realistic. That's roughly 2 hours per day on weekdays and a longer session on the weekend. It's enough to make meaningful progress without completely sacrificing our personal lives and our health.
That sounds right to me. And as the business grows and starts generating revenue, we can gradually increase that time investment, eventually perhaps reducing our hours at our day jobs and putting more time into the business.
That is the long-term vision. Start part-time, prove the concept, build the revenue, and then eventually make the transition to running Smart English Club full-time.
That is a very sensible and responsible approach. It reduces the financial risk enormously. We do not have to quit our jobs and jump into the unknown. We build the foundation carefully while we still have the security of our salaries.
Exactly. And it also means the pressure is different. We are not desperate for immediate income from the business. We can make decisions based on what is best for the long-term health of the business rather than what generates the most money the fastest.
That is a huge advantage. Some of the worst business decisions are made by people who are under financial pressure and need to generate revenue immediately. Having the security of a day job salary while you build gives you the freedom to make patient, strategic decisions.
Okay, I feel so much clearer and more confident about all of this now, Jack. I cannot tell you how much this conversation has helped me. I came here today with a dream, and I feel like I am leaving with an actual plan.
That is the power of talking things through with someone you trust. Dreams become plans when you give them structure, and plans become reality when you take action. So let's talk about our first steps. What do we actually do starting from today?
Okay, so what are the very first concrete steps we need to take to get Smart English Club off the ground?
I think the first step is to officially decide that we are doing this. Not as a maybe, not as a someday, but as a definite commitment. Right here, right now, today.
I am 100% committed. There is no maybe. This is happening.
Good. Then it is decided. Smart English Club is happening. Step 1 complete. Step 2 is to register the business name. We need to make sure nobody else is using the name Smart English Club and then register it officially.
I will handle that this week. I will check the name availability and start the registration process.
Perfect. Step 3 is to set up our online presence. We need to create our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Instagram account, all under the Smart English Club name. We want consistent branding across every platform from day one.
I will start setting those up this weekend, and I will reach out to my designer friend about the logo and branding at the same time. I want us to look professional from the very first piece of content we publish.
Agreed. First impressions matter enormously online. Step 4 is to plan our first 10 episodes. Before we record anything, I think we should plan out our first 10 episodes in advance. The topics, the structure, the characters, the conversations. Having that plan in place before we start recording means we can be very intentional about the content we create.
I love that idea. Planning ahead gives us a clear direction and also means we can record multiple episodes in one sitting if we want to, which goes back to the batch production approach you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Step 5 is to set a launch date. We should give ourselves a specific target date for our very first episode to go live. Not an open-ended someday, a real date on the calendar.
What do you think is a realistic launch date, given everything we need to do first?
I think 6 weeks from today is very achievable. That gives us time to register the business, set up our platforms, sort out our branding, plan our first 10 episodes, record our first 3 episodes, and do a final quality check before we go live.
6 weeks? That is soon, but I love it. Having a deadline makes it real. It creates urgency and focus.
Exactly. Without a deadline, preparation can go on forever. At some point, you just have to launch and learn as you go. Done is better than perfect, especially in the beginning.
I am going to write that down. Done is better than perfect. That is something I need to remind myself of regularly, because I have a tendency to want everything to be absolutely perfect before I share it with the world.
Perfectionism is one of the biggest obstacles to starting anything. The first few episodes do not need to be perfect. They just need to be genuine, helpful, and consistent. The quality will improve naturally as we gain experience and feedback from our audience.
You are absolutely right. Okay, so we have our commitment, we have our first steps, we have our launch date. Jack, I feel like we just built something today, right here at this cafe table with our laptops and our coffee.
We did. And I want you to remember this moment, Emma. Remember exactly how you feel right now, because there will be difficult days ahead. Days when you feel tired or discouraged or like giving up. And on those days, I want you to come back to this moment and remember why you started.
That is such important advice. The why is everything. And my why is simple. I want to help people. I want to use what I know and what I love to genuinely make a positive difference in people's lives. Every person who learns English through Smart English Club gains access to new opportunities, new jobs, new relationships, new experiences. That is an incredibly powerful thing to be part of.
And that why will keep you going on the days when the numbers are small and the progress feels slow. When you are doing it for a reason bigger than yourself, you find the strength to keep going even when it's hard.
I could not have said it better. Jack, thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for believing in this with me. And thank you for being the kind of friend who shows up not just to listen, but to help build.
Emma, there is nowhere else I would rather be. Watching you build this dream is going to be one of the great privileges of my life. And being part of it is even better.
Right. So what do we do to celebrate this moment?
I think we order another coffee and we start making our list of first 10 episode ideas right now.
That is the most perfectly Jack answer imaginable. No rest for the ambitious. Let's do it.
Smart English Club starts today, Emma.
Smart English Club starts today.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Smart English Club podcast.
I hope you enjoyed listening to Emma and me as we talked about starting our very own small business together. This conversation was full of real practical ideas that apply not just to business, but to any big dream you are working toward in your life.
If you listened all the way to the end of this episode, you just completed a full 25-minute natural English conversation. That is a real achievement, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Every episode you listen to makes your English stronger. Your vocabulary grows, your listening skills improve, your confidence builds. And all of that happens simply by listening to natural conversations like this one.
Now here is your challenge for today. Write one sentence in the comments below about a dream or a goal you have for your future. For example, I want to start my own business one day. Or, I dream of working in an English-speaking country. Or, my goal is to speak English fluently by the end of this year. Just one sentence. We read every comment and we will reply to you personally.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Smart English Club podcast. Turn on the bell notifications so you never miss a new episode every single week.
Thank you so much for being here today. Keep going, keep listening, keep learning.
Until next time, take very good care of yourself.
And goodbye from both of us.
Goodbye, everyone.